Good evening. I'm Ken Bastida.
And I'm Veronica. Sembla is so slow today. Oh my goodness.
Is it?
Oh, okay. It wasn't just me. That was interesting.
Assembler being stupid.
It's not being stupid. I'm just submitting big files, and it seems to really, really, really not like big files.
Yay, big files. Cool. So, originally I was going to play it later, but I have a friend who's watching the stream who really wants to see our trailer, who is also heading to the airport soon, so I promised I would play it
Play it.
at the beginning. But I don't think it plays through Discord, so if you want to watch it with the stream, you'll have to open up the stream.
Okay.
So, I'll give you a second to do that before I turn it on. And I think, so I just said this in the stream chat, but I think I have it all set up because I did it all before I went live, which means it's pretty much guaranteed to break horrifically.
World of Warcraft Classic. This is a great trailer.
I know. I mean, I put a lot of production value into that one.
Yeah, I haven't seen that one.
Oh, I'm getting
There
the WoW live action like they're in the pub song.
You know, if you had something, you wouldn't have ads. I'm always surprised when people get ads because I never see them.
I have Twitch Prime, but they changed Twitch Prime. You only get no ads on the channel you subscribe to.
Yep.
That changed like a couple weeks ago.
Don't watch enough things on any of these platforms to pay for anything.
Hey guys, I want you to be jealous. I have all these coins here. Let's see, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9.
You do have
10,
coins,
11,
George.
Wow.
And
11, 12,
then
13,
where's the rest of the
14.
statement?
Hold on, just wait. You made me lose count. I have about 15 and a half lipa here, which is the Croatian coin. And that's worth about $1.
So they're even worse than dimes, but not as bad as nickels.
So you're saying worse. This coin is like beautiful. Let me tell you, all these coins in my hand, it's hard to see. They're super beautiful. I'm going to keep all of these coins because they were apparently recently minted and they're beautiful. It's like when I get American coins, I just think, right?
I just
These
kind of feel that
coins,
way about any kind of
like,
cash. Like
I'm
physical
touching it
cash.
and I'm like, this is pristine. It looks so good.
Okay, let's do a trailer.
Let's do a
Yeah,
trailer.
trailer time. All right.
So everyone just be quiet, because I don't
Quiet.
because I don't know what will happen if I mute things, other than myself.
Our ravenous appetite for growth overcame us, until our world could not be sustained. We hunger for a new hope under your wise guidance.
The war was terrible. It scarred our people and our world in equal measure. Our only choice was to follow you as you led us on a new mission.
Death claimed everything we were. It flayed our society down to the bone. You promised us an end to our suffering, if only we would leave this place in search of a home.
So there you go. Hopefully there was sound, because I can't tell.
Woo!
Yeah, there was.
Okay, good. Because I was like,
It's
oh,
a really good trailer.
I was like, oh, I should check that, and then I'm like, wait, no, if I check that, then it'll echo the sound, and that'll be bad.
I like the trailer a lot.
Thanks, Loader. Yay. Well, a lot of people put a lot of time into it, so I really appreciate all the help and all the work that people did on it, and I'm pretty proud of it too. So, and I'll be posting that. I think we'll be posting that basically after stand up and playtest and everything. So probably around 11:30, it'll go live on YouTube and everything else in the world. So,
Currently uploading it on Steam right now.
hooray!
It's in queue.
So, yeah, and we'll play it again later in stream if you want to see it again. But have fun going to the airport, Jesse. Enjoy.
Safe travel.
Yeah.
Is that which Jesse is that?
Houston.
Oh, yay! Hey, Jesse. What's so funny?
The follow-up laugh was pretty quality.
The quiet like.
That wasn't even meant to be something that was funny. You guys suck. Okay, let's go into our updates.
Cool.
That's
Who
funny, dude.
wants to go first?
Oh God.
I'll go. So yesterday, did a bunch of additional updates to materials, kind of driving towards the asteroid stuff, and then diving in and updating some of the way we're utilizing normals and things of that sort on the others. Did an update to a few of the planets themselves in terms of the material layers, and then shifted into working on After Effects stuff for the narrative trailer. Did that till mostly the end of the day, and then this morning picking up again on more of the material work. I'm going to try and get through the rest of that by midday today, and then jump into my remaining tasks for the sprint, since tomorrow's the end of sprint. Also be available for any sort of last minute changes or anything we need to do in terms of the After Effects stuff. So hit me up if there's anything you need done before we push live, Brendan and Carl. Glad to do it. I choose Brandon.
So yesterday was almost all editing audio stuff for the trailer. Had the production time. And that was it. It was all the rest spent on that. Oh, and then I updated the Steam page with screenshots and there's something else I updated on the Steam page, but oh well, it's lost to memory. Today currently uploading the new trailer to Steam, so that should go live when we end up pushing. And then the rest of my day will be spent working with Carl on getting the ads up. And then launching those, and then finally going through the list of streamers and actually contacting them now that we have the narrative trailer and all the official announcements up. So, yeah, any additional time will be spent on the faction design stuff that I started on, Tuesday, Monday, however long ago. And hoping to wrap that up before the sprint end. Ant.
Yesterday was what did I end up doing? Mostly fixing serialization problems. I'm still working through that. And as I'm working through that, finding other places that are problematic and trying to fix those as I go, because serialization is a great way to find problems. So yeah, there's a lot of, I cleaned up a bunch of stuff. There's a lot of actors being left in the scene as from the ship picker, like installations, extra powers, like orphaned from ships because ships weren't deleting things that they should be deleting. So I just went through a big rabbit hole of fixing all that stuff up. So we properly clean up our data and actors. And then, yeah, worked to Star System serialization. We had the production meeting. That was my day. For the most part, today will be continued serialization pieces. I have one more piece from Star Systems that I need to get in, some stuff that we've added into saving and loading, then that should be fine. And then I need to check in on the ships themselves and make sure that there's nothing there that we're missing. But I think I'm pretty close on getting that done today. Are we scheduling a new build to push to itch at all? It's in the sprint, so usually we kind of potentially do. So
Yeah, it's something we should talk about because we got a bunch of stuff that's in flight that needs polish. And we should talk about it also in context with the 10th and what we want from a soak time on whatever build is live there.
Yep. Yeah, let's talk about it after stand up.
After which would probably change what I do today.
Yeah, I think it's worth us having a quick a quick sort of launch check-in.
Yeah, cool. Who hasn't gone? George hasn't gone.
I haven't. So today I did. I fixed quite a few little like edge case bugs that were appearing as I was playtesting with the actions panel, and did. I actually forget which ones I did. I have to look at the update thing. I improved it in a couple of ways and pushed it into the panel so that Hans can. So I think it's at the point now where I can hands off of it unless we find some other major bugs, and Hans can go in and make it pretty.
Beautiful. All right.
Yeah. So at least I think it is. And Hans, this is actually kind of a pretty dynamically built thing. So I think we'll probably need to work together on that, just in general. Not the just general skinning and stuff, but if there's things where you want to make changes on how it looks, we're probably going to have to work together. I also started. I spent some time thinking about. We discussed yesterday about how I said there aren't really any rares in our game right now when you jump, because every jump just feels like you're just getting another set of commons, which is not. It's not that it's the worst thing in the world, but so I started implementation of two things which we need to talk about it from a lore perspective. I'm calling them right now Uncommonium and Rarium, which are two things that are, I don't know what they are right now, but they're just things that you're going to be able to find on planets that you can use in another way. Not another way, sorry, in the same way as other stuff. But as I was doing it, I thought to myself, I probably shouldn't be doing this. And so I'd like to talk about the more important things today after stand up, if possible.
I mean, I think we talked in the product owner meeting yesterday that brought up that, and a thing that I put forward, there's another card for it that is tangential to that.
Okay.
But I don't think it goes to getting in before Steam release at all.
Okay. So let's talk about that after stand up.
Yeah.
And Will, you haven't gone, have you?
I have not gone.
You get to go.
Yesterday, I was focused on mutinies. So now, if you are jumping and the jump would cause a mutiny, the game will tell you what ships you will lose and who is going to mutiny. If you have a quest that is currently running and failing it would cause a mutiny, it will have a little pop-up on the quest icon that says failing will cause a mutiny. And I updated the planet tooltip and UI so that they are always up to date. Yep. And today, one other thing I did was write up a bunch of ideas on stuff to do with approval that I was thinking I might talk to Brandon and or the rest of the designers about, just because I got kind of excited about the faction ideas. Today, I don't know what I'm going to do yet. I have not really looked at the bug list. But that's usually what I do, is look at the bug list and then fix everything. Also, I am getting the TSA pre-check thing done this afternoon, so I'll be out this afternoon. I think
Carl
gone.
Yep. Let me copy this. So yesterday was pretty much all narrative trailer except for production time. Just going back and forth with Hans and Brandon and voice actors and all that stuff. And then getting it uploaded and all the things. Today is the big release the trailer, do the big push for all that kind of stuff, put on my social media intern hat. And then spending time prepping for Sprint End and the upcoming build and stuff, so that dovetails nicely into the conversation that we already sort of identified we want to have, which now is, since I'm finishing my update, now is a really good time to start having that conversation.
Do it.
Which is basically like, we're coming up, tomorrow is end of Sprint. We have a release on the 10th, which is next Thursday, so basically a week from today. So we should probably look at the work we have in the sprint board and really finalize and talk about what do we want in the build on the 10th. When do we want to cut that build and have it soak with our playtesters, and what work do we need to prioritize and do, and what work do we need to kick to the backlog. So if you guys want to either bring up the stream or bring up the sprint board, either one works. We should talk about what we have in doing release 7 and bugs. Oh. Well, I guess I'm still releasing that, so that's still doing. So in doing narrative teaser, we have the intuitive way to select ships instead of the idle ships icon. We have game balance through playtesting. We have cold calling streamers. We have the design, the approval resource stuff. And then we have the system JSONs.
One thing I want to say about the intuitive selecting ships instead of ship icons, I feel like the action panel actually solves a significant chunk of that pain. So it might be, I mean, that's kind of what my solution was, but I don't know if it actually solves it. So we need to talk about that at some point. Maybe not now. Never mind. I don't know why I said that.
You're muted, Hans.
I think you're right, because where we sit right now is we have the action panel, which we really haven't played with much. Has anyone played with it much in terms of like usability, how they've been
I
going
use
through
it. I use it quite a bit.
I have. Yeah.
It's fine. It doesn't stop me from cycling through my idle ships, though. Like I still cycle my idle ships for everything else.
Yes.
Which is, I still find kind of a problem. Like,
so then I think then we need to define them as two separate problems.
yeah.
So it maybe limits the set of what we need to solve with the other one, because we have that there, but there's still something that we need to solve. The question is, do we need to solve it before we go live on Steam? I haven't played enough. I've been heads down, so I haven't played enough with the new thing to really kind of know how extensive it is. So maybe that's something that we need to do some play testing for. I don't know.
What is that?
Somebody's beeping.
Yeah, that noise is annoying.
Yeah, that's a really bad screech. Screech.
Any opinions from folks other than George and Ant?
Well, even my opinion is we have a week. I don't know what we can solve in a week.
Right.
Really,
That's
and
kinda
get
where
implemented into a nice implementation.
Yeah, that's kind of where I'm sitting.
I kind of feel like putting each ship individually with the buttons that it could press on the bottom right might solve it, or if we pick a different place, but it's going to get really busy. So it might wind up backfiring. It might not backfire. It might actually be great. It might be like, oh, it's busy, but this is exactly what I wanted.
I mean, I think we
You know?
could just put the 4 bars down there that fill up when the ship is doing stuff and just have them there all the time. And they just don't
Each
fill
ship.
up, and it says it's idle otherwise. And you can just
It would
click
be
on it
5
and do
though.
stuff on the ship.
It'd be
That's
5,
what
but I
meant,
mean,
5,
a lot
sorry.
of times I have 5 going. Like
Right.
that's
So
I have
it's
5
no more
bars there.
noise.
Yeah,
Okay,
sort
fair
of like
enough,
an MMO party tracker
Yeah.
kind of thing.
Yeah,
kind of.
I feel like I could definitely be someone who works on getting it so that instead of one idle ships thing, there's 5 ship icons, and the 5 ship icons could even have like miniature versions of the buttons next to them if we wanted. Like, here's what the ship could do, that kind of thing.
Mm,
I actually
I don't
think
know. I
just,
mean,
I would much rather if just take what we have now, 5 of them.
Yeah.
With
okay.
icon like this, exactly what we have now. They look exactly the same fill bar, and they either
Mhm.
say idle or show the action that's running on them. But when you click them, it will like take you to that ship directly.
Yeah.
Like
So would
Okay.
it
where
take,
you can upgrade your ship and do things like that. Like
so it would definitely open up the ship panel. Would it also take you to the fleet view?
if you click the ship, I see why it probably. Why not?
I don't know.
Because
Just
any
asking.
other action that you're going to do in the celestial view, you get from planets.
Okay. So,
So-
just so that we don't get into the weeds of solving,
let's just have time after stand up and
Yeah.
play test to just talk through that thing.
But the feeling here by
We should
the conversation
prioritize
people are having sounds like this should be prioritized for
Yes.
still
Yeah.
solving before.
yeah.
Okay. All right.
Yeah.
Cool.
I'm gonna put it at the top of doing.
Great.
I'm gonna add a note to it real quick that this is both action panel and idle ship separation. Is that okay
Yep.
with everyone?
I think so.
Cool.
And then, just to be clear, the action panel for the planets we feel needs to be polished and in for the Steam release as well.
It needs to.
I would
I would
really
say-
like a couple people to keep playing it. Like, it would be incredibly valuable to get some other people's input, because right now this was just my best guess, and now I'm using it the way that I would use it, but I play differently than you guys do. So having other people,
we should prioritize doing it. We should have a bunch of you guys play test today after we go through this and play it, and then we can prioritize whether or not beautification of that should go forward or whether or not we turn it off.
Yeah, because that's going to be a decent amount of time. I just want to be clear about
Yeah,
that. Like,
I think it's going to be
doing that's
decent.
gonna be-
I mean, it's going to be a lot of Hans's time, and it's going to be some of my time as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So
Okay. Let's see. In release 7 that we still theoretically haven't started. Ads which are going to happen today. KPI
that's today.
dashboard. Faction design tea time.
Biz
Selection
KPI
state
dashboard
stuff.
will probably slide to next.
Let's just move it then.
Yep.
Fine.
I'm gonna move it.
Okay.
I got it.
As a player, when I select an ability that requires an action, I would like the game to be more clear of what I need to select and that I need to select something.
Oh.
It just honestly, this may not need to be there anymore if we keep this new
Action
way
panel.
that the action panel stuff. Because it kind of removes doing some of that selection.
So yeah, let's earmark this one as we'll playtest and see if it needs to remain a card. Reshoot
okay, cool.
reshoot gameplay trailer. I think we push that to next
You're
sprint.
pushing.
Yep. Move to sprint planning. Release 8. Design time, alignment on events, quests, and narrative. I don't actually remember which one this was.
I think we can just roll that into. Yeah, actually, I have no idea. I don't even remember what this was.
So this came from our conversation about the current quests and events and how we were going to tie those in more to the background material that had been written, making sure that it was more thematic and more story-like. So there was going
That's
to be a
right.
design time to talk about how are we going to actually execute that.
Yeah.
Not that we were going to do it. We were just going to talk about like, what does that mean? How does that change what we're doing?
Yeah. I think we have some cards on the next sprint that we can just we can remove this card and have that work done in the next sprint. So I'm pretty sure when we went over it in production planning yesterday that we have it there.
Yep. So I'm gonna kick it over. And I didn't actually move the other one because UI. And then we can consolidate cards during planning. As a player, I would like Quest to have a narrative element. Which sounds like rewriting the quests after having design time, or what do we want to do here, Brandon? Kick it?
Let's just kick it.
Okay.
Yeah.
Sprint planning. Okay. As a designer, I would like to understand how to communicate major game state changes to the player. This was the long-range scanning ability and window to be more closely tied together so that I am prompted to engage with the new choices. Post-exploit, post-scan, morale changes, resource changes.
Post-exploit is a little bit better now because of the Dubers, yeah.
Yeah. Morale changes, I mean, they probably need to be bigger, something else potentially there. But they do
post-scan really needs something, I think.
Yeah. And the long-range scanning thing needs to have something.
Okay, so this still sounds like a
This
thing
should stay. Yeah, we
really
should
want
still
to
do this.
Cool. Content evaluation through playtesting. Content for ish website pages. Ship picker ships be the buttons instead of 1, 2, 3. We figured out that doesn't work, right? Because it covers up the tooltips and stuff.
It will eventually work, but it's too much work to make it good right now.
Okay, so
we
we're
should delete
kicking
that.
Are we deleting it or are we kicking it into the backlog?
Honestly, I don't see value in putting it into the backlog at this point because I don't see a foreseeable future where we prioritize it.
Okay.
What about you guys?
I'm okay with that. We're going to have to come up with some other solution.
I don't really know what it is.
It's too much work for not enough payoff.
So the card was basically on Ship Picker. You know how you click the arrows, and the card was like, it'd be nice if you could just click the whole ship. Like any of that ship, you could click it and it would select it.
But I tried to do it initially and it was really hard, and then Hans tried to do it and it was really hard, and it's just kind of like
we would have to probably roll our own custom buttons.
Yes, we need custom buttons to do it, and that's just
we should do, but that's a separate task than what
Yeah.
this is.
that's like we're gonna redo the backlog before we get to that task kind of thing. That's why I said delete it.
Yep.
Yeah.
Yep.
No reason to clutter.
When we do a big UI UX overhaul, that's the right time to do it.
Yep.
So
Cool. And then as an engineer, I want our game to run at 60 FPS on a GTX 1050M.
I've done my stuff, what I can right now with it. It's not going to run at 60 FPS yet. We'll need to it's all in the post-processing, and I feel like that's going to be more work than we have time to do right now.
Yep. So kick it to backlog.
Yeah, and it'd just be something that we should keep an eye out on.
when we have some extra time or some contracting dollars, it's worth spending some time there.
Doing some optimizations.
Yep. Okay. All right, so it sounds like we need to do some playtesting, which is unshocking, in order to figure out what we want to prioritize and what the specific things we want to do out. So why don't we have folks load that up so that we can start playtesting. I'm going to take the opportunity to play the trailer again for those who missed it at the top of the stream, and then we'll do playtesting. Sound good?
So
I'll
go ahead, George.
Sorry, I'll be someone who. Do you want me to go through the validate column and direct people, or do you want me to be the note taker for bugs that people bring?
Why don't you note take? I think I'm going to deprioritize validating. We need to go through and validate, and if we can do validations along the way, we should. But this is specifically to have people playtest and use the.
Yeah. Okay.
And I do think that we should maybe maybe when we wrap up the stream today, we should also have a brief conversation about next week, whether we want to start Sprint 8 or whether we want to go into a spike for the week that we push. So
That's a really good point.
because I don't know if we want to spend half a day doing planning on Monday if we're going live on Steam on Thursday. So,
Yep.
So we should have that conversation maybe after stream's done.
Also, just so the team knows, I have a flight that's very, very close to stand up on Monday, and it is almost certain I'm going to miss stand up on Monday specifically.
Okay.
I will be late by I don't know how much.
We'll work it out.
Yep. All right. So while people are loading that up, just mute yourselves while I play the trailer for folks. So folks who missed it at the top of the stream, here's the In Search of a Home narrative trailer.
Do we need to mute ourselves again? Okay.
Our ravenous appetite for growth overcame us, until our world could not be sustained. We hunger for a new hope under your wise guidance.
The war was terrible. It scarred our people and our world in equal measure. Our only choice was to follow you as you led us on a new mission.
Death claimed everything we were. It flayed our society down to the bone. You promised us an end to our suffering, if only we would leave this place. In search of a home.
Woo! All right. If you're playtesting, make sure you're sharing your screen.
You can't tell me what to do.
And if everyone who's playtesting, if you could just take a quick peek at the validate column and try and find something you didn't do that you could try and validate as well while you're playtesting the action panel, it would be helpful. And if you have a bug or feedback or whatever suggestion that comes up, just say, George, write this, and then tell me what it is. But give me a second, because if I'm in the middle of writing something else, then I'm not going to write your thing. Carl, you still want me to be putting it in the current sprint board, right?
Yes.
Anything that comes up. Okay,
Yep.
Cool.
Also, if you get a cool thing, feel free to screenshot it.
Screenshot, yeah. Did everyone start through main menu, by the way, so Hans can get data?
Uh-huh.
I hate Hans and I don't want him to have data.
Oh, that seems like a great idea, Carl. You're such a leader.
All right.
Random tangent, a lightning bolt hit extremely close to the hotel here today. It was kind of crazy. It hit and like within, it wasn't even maybe half a second, the thunder came and shook the whole hotel almost like an earthquake. It was crazy. I was like, wow, this thing must have hit the water or something right nearby. That was pretty cool. But what was not cool was it was raining all day, so I didn't do anything. Outside, I mean.
It was raining, so I laid in bed, stared at the ceiling. Sounds like my first year of college.
Sounds like something that actually is kind of nice to do, but really kind of improbable in
Ooh.
California.
I
Southern
like I like those molten planet changes, Hans.
Thanks.
The number one thing that I missed today is bourbon. I have not had a drop of bourbon since I left America. They just don't have it here in Southeastern Europe.
That's not shocking.
It
It's
just
a pretty
doesn't.
American alcohol.
I I haven't seen it anywhere. And as it was raining and thunderstorming, I just thought to myself, it's cold. Like I'm wearing a hoodie and a shirt underneath of it. It's cold here now. So I thought this is the perfect day to just have the window cracked, get cozy up in some layers of clothes, and sip on some bourbon.
Make a hot toddy.
I don't know what that is, but if it's alcoholic, I'm in.
It's bourbon, honey,
Oh shit, I'm already
lemon.
in.
and hot water.
I wait, why water?
Hot water. It's like it
Heat it
makes
up.
instantly. You heat it up.
Oh.
Now
Just
you're
heat it
like-
up anyway. Don't
you're
dilute
like,
it.
"Eh."
And cloves, according to
Oh,
Loader.
oh, that was mulled
Oh, and
wine
cloves,
has
yes.
cloves in it. Cloves are so delicious.
Yeah,
in
it's actually very similar
beverages.
to mulled wine in concept.
So
Reckless
one-
exploit
one
takes my whole
question.
life.
Sure, go ahead, Hans.
Do we feel like for the foreseeable future we're going to be at 5 ships
Yeah.
or
For the
5
foreseeable?
ships max?
Not max.
Yeah. Well, I think 5 ships for Steam launch is definite.
Yes. He said foreseeable future. So 5 ships, probably foreseeable future, but I think the range was potentially you could go a little more than that.
I think the range is probably looking towards 4 to 6.
4 to 6.
And maybe in
Okay.
extremely rare circumstances, we might even consider 3 or 7, but I think 4 to
Yeah.
6 is probable.
Okay. Right.
Why do you say?
I'm just
the panel.
trying to think through this and how it will scale or not scale.
Hans,
What?
you watching what you just did made me think of the thing I forgot to do today that I remembered yesterday, but I forgot today. Put on the tooltip for the button when it's unpowered in
Mhm.
big red text, unpowered. That's
Yeah.
super easy to do, and I can do
Yeah.
that. Well, I'm not going to do it yet.
Yep.
I will write it as a suggestion because I'm going to stay as
Oh,
maker.
fuck.
What?
I
Whoa.
just remembered that. I wish I could click these and get to the ship.
Yeah.
Well, I mean,
Well, the thing we're talking about doing will allow you to do that because you'll just have a party bar over there of 5 or 6 or 4.
well,
Kind of like the idea of a party bar.
well, I just sort of think that those are basically, we just replace them with the ships because a ship can basically only do one action at a time. So
Right.
Yep.
so those are just the ship icons, and then they turn into the progress bar, right? And are always
Right.
clickable to get back to the ship.
Right.
Ooh, that's a cool shot. Will, you should screenshot that.
How do I screenshot?
Tilde key, high res shot,
It will
space 2.
auto-complete for you.
With
People-
GH?
Yeah. There it
And then
is.
space
Space
2.
Oh, whoops.
So it's actually like really high res.
What are the thoughts on the new Frozen?
I think it looks great. At first I thought it was an ocean planet, though.
I
To be
thought-
completely honest.
At first, I was like, "Oh, are you talking about the new Frozen?" You had to pause, and I was like, "Trailer for the movie?" I've had to watch it with my kids. They look really excited to go to it.
When it's zoomed out, like that, it totally looks like a frozen planet. When it's zoomed in, I thought it was at
ocean
my
planet?
first impression it was an ocean planet. But
Yeah.
I don't think that's a bad thing because people will get used to it really quick. I don't think
Okay.
it needs to be fixed.
All right.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like the hard highlight is a little weird to me. It makes it feel a little plasticky to me, but the rest, like the rest of the texture and everything else about it, I love. It's just that sort of.
You're talking about the overlay,
No, it's
like when you hover over it. Is that what you're talking about?
no. I'm talking about like when you're zoomed out, it has
The lines.
A gloss to it.
the glossy lighting to it.
I assume that's reflective.
Yeah, I mean, I could turn that down. I was just trying to get some sort of an icy surface.
Yeah, I feel like because it feels like it's doing it just to that one texture layer, or to that one normals layer, it ends up feeling weird because it's not like I would expect that reflectivity off of. I don't know. I just expect it to be more of a regular shape and to be moving differently than it does. Like It just feels weird right now to me. But like, not so much that I'm like, oh my god, get rid of it. It's just like that's what I would change about it in the next iteration.
I'm just trying to understand.
Yeah,
so-
I know I'm being frustratingly vague with it.
So you would like it to be more universally reflective or less reflective altogether.
I would like it to be less reflective altogether, or if we have that reflectivity to sort of give the idea of ice or whatever, I would want it to more closely follow a more geometric shape rather than feeling like it's on a normals layer that isn't connected to one of the moving shapes. Does that...
So the normals layer is connected to the moving shapes. I think what you're seeing is the bloom that was put in.
Mm-hmm.
The bloom, depending on the luminosity of the section of the material, the bloom behaves differently. And so I think that's maybe what you're...
Yeah, maybe. I don't know. It just it's sort of like it's the reflectivity on on the surface of the sphere just ends up reading as like, you know, a just ends up reading weird to me. And like, I know that I'm being vague. I'll try to think about how to say
Okay.
that better.
Okay.
But
Yeah, because I mean, it should be fair. It'll be fairly easy to adjust once I understand what it is you're going for, and I can also just take a stab because I think I can intuit what you're saying, but I don't quite understand it. So I'll give it a shot.
I actually feel like the mouse over one feels a little bit better.
Really?
So I have feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I don't think these things tell me which one of my scanners are level 2 and which ones are level 3 and which ones are level 1, which is
That's an excellent point.
really
does the-
important to the way that I'm playing right
The
now.
tooltip not tell
Yep.
you?
The
Not
tooltip
on
can
the
tell you.
ability.
No, the
Oh,
tooltip
it doesn't?
No, that should be
Not on the ability.
Oh, whoops. Okay.
Oh yeah, the
Okay,
ability.
so,
would show you what it is. That's true.
Wait, which ability? Sorry, can
Scanning.
you
So-
Like any ability won't show what.
The
The tooltip.
the ability will not show what what level the underlying installation is.
Got it. Okay. And so that's outside of the action panel. That's even on the
That's just
ship pop-up.
the ability tooltip itself doesn't
Okay.
say that.
Ability tooltip should show the level of the installation that it is derived from. Labels, suggestion. Okay. Got it. Thank you, Will.
And do we feel like we're okay when it comes to the number of abilities that we will eventually have? I mean, can't imagine that we'd end up with more than like 5, 6, maybe 7.
Wait, what?
No, I think we'll end up with a lot more abilities that are like the Persona powers, where they're one-off abilities or special abilities you get throughout the game, but are not
Right.
always there.
But
I think
Right.
we'll
I'm not
have
talking
way
about the
more
number in the
abilities.
game. I'm talking about the number that are active.
that will be shown in that ship panel.
Right.
I think
Like
we
I'm
can
just
keep it
trying to
the
think through this
core-
ship panel here.
I think we can keep
Uh,
it to the core ship abilities, but like anything that has multivariable costs.
Because
I
like
mean, maybe that's the good rule, right? If it has a fuck, I just lost my brain. If it has a cost outside of single use or, you know, like a basic resource like the 4 we have here, it probably doesn't go there. I don't know.
I mean, I feel like we're setting this up. If it's an ability that can affect a celestial object that targets
gotta
a
be
celestial,
Yeah.
it should be listed here.
Yeah.
Why
there
do
should
I
be
have
something-
this?
Why do you have what? Oh, sorry.
This X, the thing I'm mousing over. What is this X?
That means
supposed
it's
to represent?
unpowered.
Yeah, I have a suggestion already in the list of when something is unpowered, color it just slightly differently, and then have the tooltip say in big red caps "unpowered."
Yeah,
so
makes
that you
sense.
know.
Mm.
And also, Hans's task already has to make that orange X be more of like a reddish X or something. I don't know.
Yeah, and I'll probably
Whatever you.
put some kind of a lightning bolt or something like
Yes.
that
Yeah.
indicates that it's something about power.
Exactly.
Also, I can validate the
Uh-huh.
mutiny thing.
Mutiny does not cause morale to go up. Is that correct?
Yeah.
Okay. Put it in done.
One thing. One thing I'm wondering is, do we want to keep one-time use sort of persona power abilities, each having their own separate line, or do we want to have like sort of universal abilities, like or quote unquote standard abilities, like scan and exploit have their own lines where you could have multiple ships with them, but then things like reckless exploit and scan everything be like basically individual cards on like a special actions line, which I think is probably harder than we will implement anytime soon. But I just worry about.
I'm fine with that. I think actually the best thing to do is just get rid of those things from the action panel. I think it just clutter it needlessly right now. What do you think?
Reckless
I use broad
exploit.
scanning.
I do broad spectrum. I've used broad spectrum from it, but that one is less because it's a one-time, does everything. But reckless exploit I've been used quite a bit from that panel.
Okay, okay. Scan exploit and reckless exploit I could see being there. I think we need a different solution for the other stuff, like the captain powers.
Well, I think the persona powers are actually a good example of something where, I guess, do we plan on having persona powers? I mean, I'm trying to imagine a world where we have a captain have more than one power.
But it's not just the captain. The ship could have different individual
I could
powers.
see
You could have
a
events
faction-
that give you powers. We have that. Like the spider drill could show up.
That's a good point.
Like we shouldn't. There's no reason our UI should limit the number of powers we want to give out during the game.
No,
That is a bad thing.
It doesn't right now, at least. Like it doesn't care how many powers there are. For
Exactly.
each unique power, it will give a row.
Yeah, and I think that's my only concern is that if we're giving a row for each unique power, but only one ship is likely to have that rare power, then you're going to have a bunch of rows with only one ship. That feels like you could have a row of those unique powers, rather than each unique power gets its own row.
That's fine. I think the captain abilities. There's definitely duplicate captain abilities for sure. Do we care what ship uses it?
I think you do, but you sort of indicate what ship it is in the tooltip or something.
I would really. I think I requested this before. It might already be in the suggestions panel, but I am really confused about what I am scanning and exploiting.
Yeah.
Like with this panel in particular, I'm even more confused about. I mean, I know that I have a guy scanning, but I have no idea what place he's scanning.
It's almost like the bar or the little square should have its own tracking bar, showing like, oh, when I select this, the bar starts growing, or the
How about on
cooldown
hover?
numbers on there.
But you know it's scanning. What Will is at saying, what is it scanning? Because I can have ships scanning multiple planets at the same time.
No, but that's what I mean. So like when I open Alula Borealis, it's almost as if the square should remain active on that specific one and show the scanning bar there, versus it be like grayed out for another ship elsewhere. And so it's about like I'm learning who is currently scanning the thing that I have.
Got it. Oh,
does that make sense?
Also, you know what I completely forgot is you see that black box underneath of it? So actually,
progress bar.
That's supposed to be the icon of what it's doing and what the time is for what it's doing. What's the time left? And I don't know why it's all black right now. That's probably just a color issue. I bet it's actually working, but it's black text on black background, if I'm going to guess. So why don't I write a bug for that?
So, okay.
My morale is insane. I am like the happiest man in the universe.
Sorry, it was just the silence after that. Wow, barren planets look fucking dope. Sorry.
Why are you sorry for giving Hans a compliment?
I don't know. It's kind of an outburst.
They do look really good.
Seems reasonable. Random expressions of emotions are hard to deal with for men.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah, that's what my therapist tells me.
Oh boy.
Never change. Well, never change.
That's that sounds like personal experience coming out into a can of worms right there.
I'm also terrified of worms.
So
You
I
did it, Will.
I feel like there was a lot of, and this is a consistent thing that we should probably talk about in a retro at some point with playtest. I feel like there's a lot of sequential thoughts and conversations, and we should do this, and like talking over each other while also distracted by game playing. Do we have a concrete list of things that we want to do to sort of start? Because we have it as a card of like, how do we better connect? My ships are doing this thing to this planet.
Yeah, and so
Maybe a good place to start is, what do people feel about the current actions panel? Like, just generally. Like, I get that there's bugs and things and suggestions that we can do on it, but do we feel like this is the correct approach, or what?
But I think that's ancillary to the question.
Okay.
So I don't think we've solved for the thing that I've always wanted, which is I can look at, so like Will's screen right now, nothing else up. I can look at that and I can tell what's going on. I know what what planets are being scanned, what's being like, and we don't have that. I can't just look at a screen, drop in and look at a screen and start intuiting what's going on other than an action is running, but I don't know what that action is doing.
At one point, we had little things over these planets that said like scanning or exploiting. Like we could get those again. That'd be really nice.
That would be nice.
Yeah.
I kind of really wish that we had a ship icon for every ship.
Right.
Somewhere on
That's
the
one
UI.
thing. With this action panel, in some ways, I feel like we're approaching this in if we know we're always going to be 4 to 6 ships, why don't we just have just like we're talking about doing the 4 to 6 ships here? Why wouldn't we just have the 4 to 6 ships appear here with their abilities?
Didn't we have a
I also
mock-up where
think-
that
No,
was?
so
going?
Hans, I disagree with that because we do have the 4 to 6 ships. They're the columns.
I
We can
totally
put
agree.
icons for them,
I totally agree.
and we can swap whether it's column or row for the different things that we're doing. But
It just seems like when you're trying to think, the way you're thinking through how we're interacting here is our ships are doing things. And for me, the primary sort there is the ships, not the abilities. Whoa.
Yeah, and to add to that,
breaking into your room, George.
apparently there's fireworks. Hold on, I'm gonna go look real quick.
Yeah.
God.
Well, to add to that, well, fuck, George isn't here, so never mind.
Yeah.
Screw it. I'll go.
I'm upgrading my fuel factory for the first time.
Didn't Tyson do a mock-up that had the ships
Yes.
ships along there and the actions? Like,
Yes.
so
Let me see. I bet I have it here.
Yeah, it's the same screenshot as you uploaded before. It was the left and the right.
yeah, he did it both ways. Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay,
just
minor
before-
complaint. Oh, go ahead.
Sorry, just before I forget it, it's going to be really important that we do it based on ship if we want to build on the concept of factions and relationships and where those things lie in the fleet and who's performing what action,
Right.
regardless of the like target of that action.
Right.
It will be important. Like we will need players to constantly think through those things.
Think through what things? I didn't understand.
Who is performing an action relative to the rest of the fleet will be like a question that players will need answered to make decisions about factions and relationships
Okay.
in the future. So having the bar be based on the ship opens up opportunities for us to also show faction information and persona information
Right.
on the like y axis.
Right. versus having to create an entirely different section for either unique abilities or whatever, where then you
Correct.
can't really tell how those map back. Again, it's depersonifying.
Yep.
It's depersonifying the ships and the individuals and making it about the actions, which I feel like takes us away from what we're trying to do.
Agreed.
Hey, Ant.
Yeah.
You added a thing to this quest.
If
When you don't, if you don't have enough resources, it gives you an option to skip this.
Yeah.
I have literally never been in a situation where I need food, and I always am in a situation where I need gas. I want to skip this quest 100% of the time when it shows up. Is it possible that we could just rewrite that text slightly and just have the option where you just kill the scientist because fuck them? Like I take the
Gas 'em!
-1
Or
population.
just
over
have it
losing
up
10
all the
gas.
time, basically.
Yeah,
Okay,
like
maybe
I need
no
I need
gas in
gas way
anything.
more than people.
Maybe never gas anyone in any of our games.
Honestly, if I could convert people to gas, I think I could lose a couple thousand right now and be okay.
Maybe the one where we don't allow Will to be a fucking monster.
Yes.
Maybe that one. Does anyone else agree on the nod that one?
We're just gonna actually. I'm just gonna put the. You don't shoot them. You just. The option will be you just space the scientist.
No, you just don't fund the research. Like, come
How
on.
dare they bring this up?
Yeah, like what if we just weren't monstrous?
Also, can we clip Will being a monster and then play it to his child when he
cool.
comes of age?
I got 100 food.
He'll understand.
Yeah,
He will
I
have
mean,
been
I guess that's
trained.
what happens when you raise a monster.
Wait a minute. I
No,
thought you
I'm
said we
kidding.
didn't have a way to get react or anything damaged anymore, Ant.
I don't know if that actually damages anything. Check.
Do I have a bold?
I just got it. I don't think it actually damaged anything.
Oh fuck yeah! I'm feeling super spicy.
Check,
I'm gonna
though.
bold gambit. Oh, I lost.
Did
Yep,
it damage
looks
the
fine.
Yeah, I just need to remove the text.
Hey, I can validate the bold gambit bug because I decided to bold gambit because I got bored. So
Gold Gambit.
gold bambit. Yeah, I can validate that too.
Nice.
We did it.
Not being able to choose which ships you lose when you jump is really annoying.
Yep.
I'm super
On bold
annoyed.
gambit.
That stupid quest that took 10 of my gas is the reason I just lost a ship. I was
Correct.
just about to start refining fuel. I've only got 2 ships now? What the hell happened?
It's a chain
So,
No, I
reaction.
got 4 ships.
You have 4 ships.
Why does this only show 2?
George keeps
That's
moving.
not
no,
ships. Those aren't ships.
Those are abilities. I'm sorry.
Those are
that was
abilities.
dumb.
Yeah.
Again,
Our playtests are just
Exactly what
all
we're talking
All right, Hans, we're on the same page. Fucking ship it.
Our playtest is working fine, Carl.
Sorry, I'll
So-
stop talking.
No, the playtest is working great. It's the communication during the playtest that is not always working great.
So I'd like to come back to this panel. We've got a couple challenges here. Obviously George isn't here. We need to loop him in. I just saw him move quickly the other direction, which kind of makes me a little nervous. But
Please come back, George.
yeah.
George, don't die. Yeah.
But anything we can do to reinforce, in my mind, anything we can do to reinforce like the personality of the ships and who is on them, I think is an opportunity we need to take. And so the idea of seeing like my flagship is, that top row, and my flagship has the ability to do blah, 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 blah. So the axes get swapped.
Yeah. So I completely agree. That would be a great way to go. But the key thing is you only need to show abilities that can affect that planet.
Correct. And I
so
think
there's not, and so that's
I
probably
just-
not going to be long.
I actually disagree. I want to see what other abilities my ship has,
No,
so that I
no,
can see
not
what is being
there.
mutually excluded.
Not there.
Really?
Really, this is the planet panel, Brandon.
Yeah,
This is
but,
not about your ships. If that's something, then there should have another thing that you can see your ships.
but the action
So-
of my ships and the way that my economy is functioning seems more important to me than just like the object that I'm scanning in that moment. Because it's
So-
about. Sorry, go ahead.
But it shouldn't be there, is what I'm saying.
So just so one moment, like we're going to have a couple different things. One of the things we need to do is we need to communicate the overall game. And the way we're talking about in the current moment, communicating the current game state is the lower right-hand corner right now where we have the event panel, or excuse me, the action panel where it's going up and here's the actions that are going on. We have effectively an MMO group indicator that sits down there that has all of your ships. So whatever they're doing at a given time, idle, scanning, Nair Al Asif or whatever, all of that is being communicated at all times in the lower right hand corner. So you can look at the state and time of what your ships are doing always in the lower right hand corner. Then we have these panels, and these panels come up, and we'll have moons, we'll have regions, we'll have these things that are going to come up, and we need to then be able to look at what ships can interact with them and how they get interacted with in this context is what And is talking about, in the context of that menu. Brandon, I think you're talking about, if I choose to scan this planet, that means there may be other abilities I can't use in other context, correct?
Correct.
Is that what you're concerned about?
Yep.
Okay. Just want to make sure we are being clear about
what. And to reiterate Brandon's point, I accidentally scanned with my only ship that can refine fuel and was pissed off.
Right.
Yep.
So if we are talking a reasonable amount of abilities that can appear on a ship, if we are sorting those abilities by their precedent to the context. So furthest left are the most planet focused, furthest right are the least planet focused. And then we have the ships from top to bottom, your fleet down. Then at that point, whenever you're in a panel, you can take a look and say, okay, here are all the ship abilities, then next comes the, persona powers, and then comes the faction abilities or whatever, and we sort them left to right that way in each one of the columns.
And just to be clear, changing it from ability being left to right and ship top to bottom to the other one is not a trivial task. It's not. Okay. It's not that it's it's like probably an hour-ish of work, but it's not like I can just go and then the things are done. Whereas like adding a new ability there is literally a 5-second task.
Right.
Because it's JSON.
Right. So I don't know what people think.
So my only concern, like I agree with the outlay of information, and I think there are viewpoints there. I think my concern, which touches potentially on where Ant is coming from, is I worry that Brandon and Will, as superpower min-max gamers, are optimizing to, I want all the information for every decision on the screen all at once, all at the same time. And then we're just playing a UI game. Whereas what I want to do is, when I have the intention to do a thing, I have relevant information there, but we trust the users to be able to navigate the UI in order to find the other information that is more important in other contexts, to keep a thing in their brain overall, right? And also optimizing for the overall experience of, we want them to be able to see the majesty of space, not just play pop-up windows. And so, like, I'm not saying I want one specific solution or the other. I just want to be careful what we optimize for, so that we just don't end up with a screen that is all UI and, like, you never see the ships, you never really see the planets. It's all overlay stuff.
And then the other thing, whenever you talk about sorting abilities like that, so if I'm in the planet panel, the next thing will come, can I use all abilities from there then? Can I only use abilities that affect that planet, but I see everything? And at what point do people start going like, but why do I have to click someplace else to see it? Like, it just gets
I don't quite understand what you're saying.
So you just said you're sorting, Carl, sorting all abilities left to right, most relevant contextual to one side, not to the other. Can I click those non-relevant abilities?
I would think so.
So I can control everything from the planet panel?
If you're going to provide ability buttons, I don't see why you wouldn't.
Yeah.
where that becomes a problem is when you need if it's like say a captain ability that then you need to go and select a ship. Then we have the same problem we have now, which I totally agree with. That being said, so I lost the game, but I was going to make a point with what was on my screen.
Story of our gameplay.
But one of the things that we could do if we felt like that was a problem, we could have some icon that always lands at the end of the ability buttons, that when you click on it, or when you click on the ship name, for example, on the left-hand side, it brings up the ship panel on the right-hand side where you can see all the ship ability buttons at the bottom, which I think is an in-between, but it doesn't change the fact that organizing it by ship aligns with our goal to try and make people feel like they understand their ships and have context about their ships and their captains.
I like what Hans just said.
Yes, I think it feels like we are very aligned that the action panel is good, but should be the rows should be ship focused, with abilities that are relevant to that planet, following in columns, and then having those rows, either the icon all the way on the left or some amount of that row being clickable to open that ship's ship panel.
If we could have icons for every ship, replace the ability, and you could click the icon on like the left side, and then it opens the ship panel. Yeah.
And that was
so. What happens when? Sorry. Oh, sorry. Go ahead, Hans.
No. I want to double down on that. So you had a question. So let me.
Yeah. My question is, what do you guys envision the behavior being when, for example, you've scanned one part of a planet, so now you can exploit, but then you also have other things left to scan. So there's more than one button for a ship.
It has more than one button.
It would have all of the abilities.
So it should act kind of like it does now then, just switch whether the abilities are top, left side, and ships on top, and ships on left, abilities on top?
Yep. It's literally just flipping the axes.
Okay, and then what I'll do is I'll make it so that the abilities appear left to right in the same order that they do in JSON, so that designers can go in and change whatever order we want for abilities.
Yep.
Does that sound good to everyone?
I think that works. That's a good place where we are now. The next piece, though, that I wanted to talk about is kind of where Ant was just starting to talk about, which is when you're looking at you're looking at your ships, for example, and we're going to have this little thing in the lower right-hand corner, which is going to be sort of your party box that gives you your state. When you're looking at a planet as well, we're going to have some kind of icon here. Right now we have these indicated as like the luxury ship, the medical ship, the flagship. I feel like we need to come up with a more consistent way to communicate ships, like what are the ships. And I don't feel like the name is a great way. I don't feel like the class is a great way. I feel like we still have a major problem there from this is my main ship. And I don't know why that is.
I was actually thinking maybe we should just make it so that with Ship Picker, you have to get unique types of ships. You can't have more than one of each type of ship in your fleet. What do you guys think about that?
No, I don't like that.
We can add ship types that are similar.
Is this where we actually give people the ability to name them?
What if we used the captain photo?
Yeah.
I mean, I think so. Where my brain was going is that long term, if we want to double down on personification, we should be focusing on the captain as the clicker, not necessarily the ship. Like the ship is a bunch of information that the captain happens to control. That said, the only hesitation I have is that just puts even more weight on the fact that we haven't solved our captain portrait issue.
Yep. I was going to say right now, if we do it based on captain, the captains are randomly assigned. One game I have that one dude as my flagship guy, and then another game I have that one dude as my freighter guy. And
Well,
then
I think
I
we
have
can just test the association with colored. Like,
I
if we
mean,
really just
yeah.
want to test the ability for a player to make that association, just make them colored boxes, and it'll help us. Like, we'll get there.
Like we know we
Well,
only have you have 5 ships no matter what right now. So we can make 5 unique icons,
Colors.
captain
Yeah.
images, like whatever we want to call them, make them 5 unique and they're always unique throughout your fleet.
Or what
color
about
patterns.
like exactly.
Yeah,
We create
pattern.
a captain border,
Yep.
Yeah, border.
and the border is a color, and then on the party central in lower right hand corner, we utilize that color as part
Yep.
of the bar building, so
Yep.
that you get a tie between this captain is this color and this ship down in the lower right hand corner is this color.
And we can do the same
So,
thing on the planet thing to have that color
Oh yeah.
by the
We-
ship on the planet picker, so you at least know, like, oh, it's that ship. And like, yes, I agree.
I don't
that-
think it's going to solve the problem, though. If I'm being completely honest, I don't think it's going to solve the problem. I think every game you're going to have to spend mental energy you don't want to on memorizing which colors belong to which things. And I think the easier solution is make everything unique.
I think the problem
Because-
making
I don't want to do that though.
Making
Like, I
it-
don't want to
there's a
limit our
lot of-
design that way.
yeah.
I'm not even
Uh,
sure. What do you mean by that? Talk a little more.
Me?
Yeah. Make
Uh,
everything unique.
Make every ship have to be of a different type than the ships that you already have. The flagship's already unique.
Oh, I
You
see.
need 4 ships of types that are not the same as the other ones, and then it's really easy to identify them because I know what freighters do. I already know what freighters do. 100%, I know what they do. They have a fuel factory. Like, I can tell you every single game a freighter has a fuel factory. I might have 2 freighters right now, but if we make it so that the game only allows for 1 freighter in your ship picker, and we just maybe there's a second type. Maybe not just the freighter has a fuel factory, but maybe another ship type also has a fuel factory. But then at least I have an easier identifier than
Bye.
Oh, that was the worst timing, man. I was like intent on listening to that.
something. Am I back?
Yeah,
Hello?
you're back.
Yes. Okay. Cool.
Okay. If I have 2 freighters, it doesn't matter whether one is blue and one is yellow, because if in my last game a freighter was blue and a luxury ship was yellow, then that means I have that association already. So the thing that I'm remembering 100% every game, no matter what, is freighter has a fuel factory, luxury liner
Right.
has grand celebration.
So hold on for a second, though. I agree with your point. That said, I think that where we want to find that uniqueness, where we have the building blocks for in the narrative doc, and I think we want to get there, but we don't have the tools to do that without severely limiting, I think, the interesting designs to Ant's point right now. If we had unique meshes and we had started to bring in the keywords like manufacturer and ship class and some of these other things, where your choices will be very unique with things that persist between games so you can memorize them, and were part of your specific choices in ship picker, so that you're like, oh, I know I have a Axiom manufacturer. Basically, I know I have a blue Toyota that belongs to the House faction, so I always know it's going to do this. In ship picker, I think we have a lot of leeway to, and it has unique models and stuff. I think we're going to get there. The problem is we don't have any of that stuff right now, and so with the number of things we have, I think we're going to run into a problem of every game feels really samey if I can only have 1 freighter, 1 medical ship, 1 science ship. And hold on, and
Okay.
I think if we add, okay, here's freighter 2 and here's freighter 3 that aren't freighters but are freighters, then we just run into the same problem of, I don't really remember which version of freighter I have. I think maybe it has this, like, you just get right back into the problem you already
We have that problem anyway. If you get 2 freighters,
Right,
you have
right.
the exact same problem.
But not solving it.
But what I'm saying is your solution doesn't end up solving the thing and just inherently limits our designs.
I think it doesn't limit our designs at all. If we make something called freighter that it has the same thing as a freighter does installation wise, right? But if it's a different thing, it's easy to remember that freighter and fuel liner, I don't know, I can't think of anything right now. But freighter and fuel liner, if they were two different types of ships and you knew that you could get one of each or whatever, it's so much easier for me to remember that kind of stuff than it is. And the thing is, it doesn't detract. It doesn't make it less good than it currently is. And it only makes it marginally better, even though it doesn't solve the problem. But marginally better is still better than not doing anything at all. And I don't think that the color thing actually solves the problem. I think the color thing actually complicates the problem.
So, okay.
It makes it so that I have to memorize it at each game.
Okay, so I'm gonna come in with production hat, and sort of values hat. We have a couple different solutions. We need to test our assumptions. So I don't want to hard commit to one or the other. We are gonna do a bunch of UI changes. We should test color to see if that fixes it. We can also then make sure that we capture the information to test George's solution and see how that fixes it. Let's get those things into cards and figure out when we want to playtest them. Either way, like, I'm not confident that we're at a place where we can make a hard call on this in order to make it for Steam launch. So we should put a pin in these things and put them into the backlog.
May I interrupt?
Please.
Yeah.
George, I got a crash, and I'm pretty sure it's in your code.
Yay! Okay,
A
what's
star
up?
system build this function when it's building a star system. Down here, I got a crash. The celestial object map is being asked for an ocean, and there are no oceans in the celestial object class map. But the type that it's trying to get to is ocean, which you can see right here. In star system, celestial object data, there's only one. The one in here is ocean. And by the name, its name is Onocolia, which is a cool name.
When did it crash?
I'm not following where the crash is happening. Sorry.
Will, when
Here,
did it?
here's the line of the crash. Can you read my code, or do I need to make it bigger? Okay.
No,
I'm not asking. I'm asking. Will, when in the game did it crash?
I just said after the jump.
So was it a later jump? First jump?
So this code right here, Ant, is when it's building a star system.
I know what the code is. I'm actually asking what jump you were on.
10, I don't know. It's probably the win.
It's probably the win. Okay.
Yeah, but it's trying to build an ocean, and it's going into this map, celestial object class map. I have no idea how this is generated.
Oh no, it's my code. It's new code that I had in. Was ocean just not in there?
Ocean is not in here.
All right, we need to fix that. It's easy.
Okay, sweet. I'm gonna stop. So we currently cannot win. So that's a blocking bug. We should put that at high priority.
I'll fix that right now. Star system.
I didn't break everything. Yay. I was like, how are you finding a bug in there? I haven't touched that in like 3 months.
I was confused too, because I thought you hadn't touched it in like months.
I made it. I put it in doing. It's on you.
It's true.
Anthony.
I'm checking the fix in right now.
And let's be clear, Will's mostly annoyed because he was super hopeful and wanted to win.
He was. You can count that as a win. He was going to win.
Dude, if you had looked at my screen, you would have seen I was indeed super hopeful. My morale literally never went down the entire game. I never needed to grand celebrate. We need to turn that morale ticker up 10 notches. I don't even know if it goes down anymore. I kind of think stagnation is a joke.
Okay.
The happiest people in the universe.
Ant is like, challenge accepted.
Once we fixed it, I tuned it back down because I was like, I don't know how aggressive this needs to be.
I want it to be mean. I liked it before better.
If user is Will, population cannot get above worried.
Yeah, that would be okay.
And stagnation is one tick equals deaths.
I mean, part of it is that Grand Celebration is literally one of my favorite things in the game. I search for food so I can hit that button because I like the idea of my people having a party.
Aww, that's really sweet.
That's way too wholesome for
stagnation
this
became
that needs
20% worse now.
Wholesome memes on Reddit or something. That's really sweet.
Yeah. Are we still sweet? I don't like my wholesomeness on the internet.
So anyway,
Alright, what's happening?
So, are we dedicating then that we are going to change the for the Steam release? We're going to change the X and Y axis of that box.
Yes.
the planet.
Yeah, I already have that in the doing list.
So we're going to change that. Right now, we're going to leave them identified, leave ships identified by their current function.
Yes.
And then when we build the party thing on the right-hand side, are we identifying it there by ship name, ship function,
Ship name. Ship name. I think we can play with ship name or ship. Well, when you're saying the party bar? Are you thinking putting the text in the window?
No,
It's
I'm
on
saying
mouse over?
on the lower right-hand corner. On the lower right-hand corner,
Yeah.
where we have the replacement for idle ships.
Yeah.
How does somebody know which bar, which progress bar, which area is which ship, or does it matter?
I mean, I think you could, because we have it, that bar is broken down to like the small top header and then the big fill at the bottom. So I bet it could be the ship name : type, or that would probably all fit just fine.
I also think we can just make well, I'd say just, and this is non-trivial work. I think we should take we right now we hard code ship mesh to ship type, correct? Like a freighter
Correct.
always looks the same. We should take those things and make icons from their side silhouette. And so that way you just have those icons on the right that are your ship makeup. And then tooltip can say ship name, ship thing, or can bring up the picture of the captain or something. I don't know. But then just in a game you learn that, I think. You're shaking your head, Hans. You hate that idea.
A little bit. That's okay. I'm willing to give it a try because I don't have a better answer.
Do we have any icons?
Just those ship outlines at scale. As soon as you start going, like I fought with this when the original idle ships was one of those ship outlines. Like making them identifiable at a small size is really challenging to make it look good. Not impossible, but
This
I
is
think it's a
why
good place to start.
I feel like if we had freighter that had one hard point, never mind. I won't say anything.
Is now an okay time for me to bring up a really minor complaint?
Do it.
Upgrading a scanner from level 1 to level 2 seems much better than upgrading a scanner from level 2 to level 3. I don't know if my math is wrong, but I feel like I don't have a reason to go from 2 to 3, but I have an incredibly compelling reason to go from 1 to 2.
Well,
Is that a problem?
you can actually take that statement to almost anything, upgrade anything to level 3, because God does it not, like, upgrading a reactor and then upgrading the installation is
Upgrading your reactor to level 3, I think, is the only thing that's worth it.
what? Wild.
Well, because then you can build more installations. And low-level installations are, in a lot of cases, I think, better than the higher-level ones. But certainly, level 2s are just dope.
So
scan.
a level 2 scanner will scan 2 things right now?
Just make
Yeah,
a level
so
3
it's-
scanner scan 10 things. So it
A
scans
level
All
everything.
the things on a
scanner-
planet.
Not
a
even
level
kidding.
2 scanner scans twice as much as a level 1 scanner. A level 3 scanner scans 50% more than a level 2 scanner. So that's part
And
of
everything.
it should
Inherently, I don't think that's a bad thing because the level 3 scanner is just basically a win more button. And so I don't think it's necessarily bad that in a survival style game, you have things where it's like, I'm getting incrementally less progress, like the bonus curve kind of like starts evening out. But at the same time, I'm really excited by the idea of saying level 2 scanner scans twice as much. Level 3 scanner scans everything.
Everything.
Yeah, I still don't think I'd ever do it, but
Same.
it would be more useful then, and it sounds fun at least. But I would never
Like-
do it because of the point Brandon's making. Like 3 power is just not worth it.
Yeah.
It would need
give
to like
you-
raise my morale and give me food also or something.
And backups.
If you chose not to go with broad spectrum scanning, it would give you the ability to event it there, because that's effectively broad spectrum scanning.
I mean,
Oh,
like everything on one
No,
planet.
on one planet, you were saying.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which Oh no, we do more than 3 things.
You
Yeah,
said
there's some
two.
with like
You're
5,
stupid.
and you're like, then you'd be like, this is payoff, and then sometimes you'd enter a system and be like, there's a gas giant, fuck you, and you'd be like, oh.
You know
Just
what,
the-
Brandon? I thought you would be right, but you were wrong. Every time I hit a 5, it was like metal, 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 metal. What the hell do you do with metal, guys? I had 700 metal when I just won the game and
Yeah.
crashed.
I think the
That's
correct
why
answer
we
is you're
want
supposed to build more
installation.
shit.
I
want
built so much shit.
things
it's
that
the-
convert our resources in different ways so badly. And I
just
want
want to spend my metal.
I
Not
want
right now.
huge sinks for common resources that are used when you encounter rare stuff.
Build
That's what I
another
want.
ship. Build another
Like-
ship.
Yeah, so as an example, if I get, a unit of rarium and
Terraria.
and that rarium could convert into 20 fuel, but I have to build, a rarium fuel factory that costs 500 metal. I'm like thinking to myself, well, what's this calculation? Rarium does nothing else. Well, maybe it does some other things, but 500 metal into 20 fuel, I'm willing to do that. And so I would do that in a game, but I would only do it if I found rarium, right? It's
500
just
metal to 1 fuel would be worth it to me.
sure, but okay. The numbers can be tweaked, but
Says the person who
this-
originally disagreed with like just resource conversion stuff, boring resource conversion stuff.
I do, and
Me?
I would continue. No, me. I would continue
Oh.
to advocate for don't do boring research conversion. I would much prefer if instead of doing resource conversion, we had things to spend metal on that was worthwhile.
but what's not worthwhile about fuel?
Spider drill. Spider drill. Just
I don't
I mean,
know if
maybe
we
we
want to
just-
go down this path, but it's
know.
not that it's not worthwhile. It's absolutely worthwhile to do the resource conversion. I just think it's boring.
Yes. Okay. Fair
but-
point.
Are we going to do resource conversion before Steam?
No.
So, do we have any other areas that we need to talk about? We have 2 major pushes as far as, in my mind, they feel very major. The action interface on the planets and the party,
Yeah.
sort of the party thing on the right-hand side, saying that we're going to get those in and have those polished and working the way we want by Steam feels really fucking aggressive to me.
I think it's
we
doable.
can do it, but I think it's really aggressive for like getting any kind of testing in, getting the work done, getting testing in, getting polish applied. Are there any other areas that we need to discuss that need to be worked on that are major components or major failings with where we sit right now before the Steam release goes live?
After the bug fix that Ant pushes, we should
I already pushed
thoroughly
it.
test winning.
Yes.
We should make sure that you can actually win.
Yes.
Mhm.
Okay.
And I would really like to have a material for the winning planet
Yeah.
done.
That'd be good.
as well. So I know Carl's shaking his head on that, but having people hit the winning planet and having it look like nothing else in the game seems really. It seems like a shitty customer experience.
Sure. Don't disagree. Just not sure. Given the amount of times that people will see it, I'm just not sure.
Yeah,
it's as
I get you.
Um,
I get you.
I think the only other thing that came up that is sort of related to the other 2 things was having something in the viewport around planets or something that indicates that something was happening to that planet.
Right.
So you could tell at a glance that something was happening. What I would prefer to do is do the other 2 things and see how well that addresses that, because I think that I feel much more strongly about how nice that visual bar is going to have to be to hit, and so I would want Tyson to do concepts on it first.
Yeah.
That makes sense. Yeah.
So outside of that, I think a lot of it is let's do bug
think-
fixes. Let's make sure the stuff, because like there's a lot of just little things in the bug column that I want to make sure we clean up and fix. Like I don't want it to say New Earth, and other like tiny things that are pretty trivial to change, but we should just go through and change them. I'd also
Already did that one.
I would also like to potentially take the narrative trailer text and use that and start generating the like affected by climate change text and have it be instead the narrative trailer text, and you have basically 3 scenarios. because I think tying it better together with the narrative trailer stuff. So I think those two feature pushes of the UI stuff is, I think, the last two big feature pushes we want to push into the Steam build. We want to get those done and then just pound the crap out of bugs and fixes, and like whether that's cleaning up text or rewriting event text or all that kind of stuff. And just pound that. And I do think we want to do a spike week next week and just pound through all that kind of stuff. And if we only need 1 or 2 days and we're like, we have a really solid build for Steam, let's upload it to Steam and it's good to go for Thursday, then great. And then we can shift into sprint planning. But we should just do spike until we have the Steam build.
Yeah. I would love if we could target the idea of targeting having an itch build by end of day Monday that we can push and have a call to action for the playtesters to jump in and playtest and give us some feedback for Tuesday and Wednesday.
Yep.
So that we can then have our Steam build by Wednesday.
We can fix any horrible crashes.
Right. Well, horrible crashes or holy shit, we didn't think about that UI change this way or whatever.
One thing, a suggestion I'll probably put in, because it came up in another thing where people were confused about saving, as I'm going to actually put probably something on screen that when it saves, there's like progress logged or something, because it only happens at a specific time when the jump in happens. So people don't get the expectation that, oh, when I quit this game right now, it's going to save the current state of the game. It's like, no.
Yeah, that's a good call.
Cool. So let's target Steam release candidate by afternoon on Monday. I want to say afternoon on Monday because I'd like to get it up and published to our playtesters about the time people get home, so that they can actually play it and do stuff. So end of day Monday, we want to upload a release candidate to the Discord, and then pound on that until we are confident that it is what we will release on Steam. We'll upload it to Steam so it's good to go, and then we'll do sprint planning from there. But basically, from now till release candidate is locked, we're just pounding on those two feature implementations and bug fixes and content tweaks. Sound good to everyone?
Yep.
Sweet. It was kind of a long stream today. I'm going to cut the stream because I also need to put on my social media intern hat and start doing all that stuff. So continue to have the call if you guys need to, but I'm going to jump off and we can push on that stuff. Sound good?
Cool.
Bye, friendly Twitchers.
Yeah,
See everybody.
a bunch of people jumped in today and watched the trailer and stuff. Really appreciate it. The trailer should be up on YouTube and stuff very soon. Literally as soon as I go and press the button. So thanks for tuning in. Bye.
Bye.